Okay then. Right. Okay. Hello Internet, my name is Ragentreg and I'll be going through a tutorial for RNG, the basics, for those who want to learn how to speedrun Pokemon trading card game for Game Boy Color. So, RNG. So, what does RNG stand for? Well, first off, RNG stands for Random Number Generator. And in short, what this means is, it's something that's running in the background of, usually most games have this running in the background. I can't think of one which doesn't, but most games have this running in the background. And what this is, it just generates random numbers well, it depends on the game, but in our game here, it is generating random numbers at 60 frames per second. So every single frame of those, there is a random number being generated. Which basically means there's 60 random numbers being generated every second. And what are those random numbers do? Well, those random numbers, they determine if you get a heads or tails on a coin flip, how your deck is shuffled, how the enemy's deck is shuffled, how random effects work. It affects everything. It affects everything in duels, and booster packs as well. Booster pack openings are affected by it too, and we use this knowledge to manipulate booster packs for two certain cases. But I will go over that in a later tutorial. For now, understand that RNG has two states. It's either moving or frozen. When it is moving, what are the states where it's moving? The states where it's moving is in the overworld, or any time you can view the overworld. So, for example, this screen, with the people dancing here, with Dr. Mason, this guy whose name I don't know, Tech. Yeah, with Tech, Sam, all these guys, the RNG is advancing, so this is churning through the random numbers at 60 a second. If I open the menu here, the RNG is still advancing because we can still see dancing people. And if I, however, go into Diary, the RNG has now frozen because this has covered the overworld, and the overworld is the only time where the RNG is going. So, in this case, this screen, the important screens where RNG is frozen is the diary screen, the deck screen, like so. Thanks for the follow, Mr. Melonbread. So in those two screens, and the last one is here. If you go into read mail, there's RNG is frozen on this screen as well, which is relevant if you're. It's very relevant for one trick, this one, but the rest is slightly less relevant. And one final note is the RNG is frozen while you're in a duel. And to just demonstrate this quickly, I will just go to a nice easy fight over here. We'll just go to one over here. Easiest fight in the game. Oops, I'm going to save beforehand just because I want to demonstrate some things. And so here the RNG is still advancing. And the second you press yes here, and the duel comes up now. Those three little bleeps tell you the RNG has frozen. So whatever state the RNG is in, oh my god. Why are you doing this? Okay, and we're back. So, whatever state the RNG was in before this duel, it is now frozen as soon as you hear the three little bleeps and see this screen. Okay? And with that in mind, obviously, the shuffling the decks there, that consumes some RNG too. And we'll just go over that. Every time the deck is shuffled, the RNG is advanced. But anyway, we'll just gloss that over just for now. I'm going to demonstrate some things. So, turn 1. Right, so, when you're in combat here, right now, the RNG is frozen in time. So, if I used, now what's a good case? I'm just going to do this first. If I use Gambler here, which uses a coin flip, the RNG will advance one frame. Let's see, do I get the heads? I do get the heads. And just to prove this works, I'm going to reset here quickly and prove it works by always getting a heads every single time. It's not magic or anything. When you continue duel, the RNG reverts to whatever the RNG was before you made if you were in... Okay, so I'll come back to that in a moment, but basically every time you restart the game via continue duel, the RNG will revert to its last known state, and in this case the last known state was just before I used Gambler. So to demonstrate this, I will flip a heads, and then I'm going to flip a heads again, and I can do this as many times as I want, but I will never get a tails. See? Heads. And one final time just to prove my point and just saying I'm not lucky and everything. That's heads. So we're just going to let this action go through just to pick up some more cards. Okay. Okay, this actually demonstrates another little thing about RNG. So I'm going to do that in a second. Right, anyway. We're just going to let the duel continue on a bit while I talk for a moment. So. Oh, right. Oh. Oh. Bastard. Right, I guess we're just going to have to wait till Psyduck's got... Oh, no. Psyduck's... Okay, okay. We can actually demonstrate something with this. So you see how the Psyduck used coin flips to influence its actions. Actually, no, this is terrible, because... oh, no, wait, oh, no, I can't use that. God damn it, Amanda. I'm just going to go back here quickly, so we can demonstrate more RNG. In the meantime, there are 3 ways for RNG to advance in the game. The first is flipping a coin, the second is shuffling, and the third is using a random effect. Now, coin flips, such as Gambler, or a lot of Pokemon attacks use coin flips. Gambler also shuffles the deck, and there's a few shuffle effects in the game. And finally, there's random effects, such as Zapdos here. And I will demonstrate Zapdos's... Okay. And I'll demonstrate Zapdos's magical RNG powers in a moment. So when I say random effects, there are a few effects that are random. And those that we know of are ones like this, Zapdos. It has 2 random abilities. I'll just show them here quickly. First, Peal of Thunder, which does 30 damage to a non-Zapdos, to another creature, another Pokemon, sorry, chosen at random when it enters the battlefield. This is not true when you start up with Zapdos. So if you play Zapdos at the beginning of the game as your first basic Pokemon, you can't use this effect. But I digress. And Big Thunder just chooses a Pokemon that isn't Zapdos and does 70 damage to it. So to demonstrate this power, this random effect, I'm going to first just use it, and one of these 3 people are going to get hit. Let's see who gets hit. Slowpoke is dying here. Okay, so Slowpoke got hit here. Now, if I did that again, I can confirm it is Slowpoke again. It will hit Slowpoke every time. However, if we advance the RNG, such as using Gambler... Actually, I'm just going to do this because I don't... Because principles. Alright, so we use Gambler to advance the RNG by flipping a coin and shuffling my deck. This is not going to hit Slowpoke. Probably. Just wait for it to hit Slowpoke anyway. I see. See now, the RNG has advanced, it's hit Farfetch. Now just to prove this is not a fluke, I'm just going to demonstrate that Farfetch is going to get hit twice more. It always hit Farfetch now. Now we use this, we can use that to save ourselves from a Zapdos in a certain fight later in the game, but that's not the thing to be worried about right now. What you should know is that the RNG can advance in 3 ways during a duel: coin flips, shuffles, and random effects. I will say one thing is that Mankey's peak ability, which you will see on certain fighting fights, it's a bit rare to see, but if you see them use peak, it will say on screen that he's using peak, and you will know that he's using peak. Then that also advances the RNG. Don't ask me why, because one of the guy who tasks this run, Blaze, he found out that that ability advances RNG, so that's just a thing you've got to know. It can be relevant, but it usually isn't. Anyway, so you can either flip a coin, shuffle your deck, or the enemy's deck, or use a random effect. And that's the 3 ways to advance RNG in a duel. Now, one final point about duels is that when you search for something, you shuffle your deck, then you restart here, or do whatever action, and then cancel it, which I will explain in a different tutorial, if you cancel an action you've done, it will revert to the RNG that was the last known RNG. Now this is useful for fixing RNG in your favor. So say I wanted to hit the Farfetch'd and I was hitting something that wasn't the Farfetch'd, then I just use coin flips, use deck shuffles until I start hitting Farfetch'd. This is only to manipulate RNG in your favor. Doesn't always work, but it can happen, and often that will save you some runs. But of note, one last place where the RNG advances is during the title sequence and the title screen here. During this sequence, during the opening sequence and this screen, the RNG is advancing. However, there's an exception to this rule, and that's if you press Continue Duel, it ignores whatever RNG it's generated, and it returns the RNG that it is right now. Right? So that's that. That's explaining the RNG in a nutshell. Anyway, so to recap. 1. When the RNG is advancing, it is advancing during the title screen, title sequence, and when you can see the overworld. The RNG is frozen when you are in combat, or looking at a menu which covers the overworld screen. And during combat, you can advance the RNG by either coin flipping, using a random effect, or deck shuffle. And with those in mind, thank you very much for watching, and have a nice day. Alright,